everybody. So I'm in Newcastle, just off one of those Neuron scooters. Got that partway from city centre down. Just heading, I can't see with these glasses in the rain. Just heading towards Heaton and the Driftwood Float Spa that I've been talking about. I'm already soaking wet, so a little bit of water's not going to bother us too much. Trying to think the best way to go. I'm going to go down this way. So yeah, hopefully in about 20-25 minutes I'll be there, and then we're going to see what it's all about. So here we are on Cheltenham Terrace in Heaton, just outside of Driftwood Float Spa. So this is where we're going to be going in. Got another 5 minutes or so. Got to have orientation before you have disorientation. Lee?
Get the guy outside the camera.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Alright.
Come in, mate. I can't do the light today because I had a flood a couple of weeks ago. So
okay.
My seat has been ruined in that little room. But if you want to come back at some point, I can do that for you. That's absolutely fine. But the float,
that's fine.
The float is totally fine. Thankfully, we've got a flat roof, you see, there out the back, and the drain blocked up with moss.
Right.
So I was away one night. It was like, remember a few weeks ago when it really rained heavy that one night. I got here and it was raining inside. Oh my god! Like weightless stuff. You know what I mean? So I had to close for a week. Get everything dried out and fixed and stuff. So, but my light's not up and running again at the minute. But thankfully, there's no flat roof above the float room, so that all that sort of stuff's absolutely fine.
Saved.
Yeah.
Is there a toilet in here, Lee?
Yes. Shall I show you where that is before we go through and stuff?
Yeah, might as well. I've just walked from town, so
alright. That's good. I'll teach you this. Okay, so you haven't floated before, but you've watched a couple of videos, so you've kind of got a rough idea what it's about, yeah? Okay, well I'll sort of summarise kind of like how it works and what it does, sort of thing, and then we'll take you through and show you how everything works in the float and stuff like that. Essentially what you're doing is you're reducing environmental stimulation or turning down the world, is a sort of easier explanation for that. So what does that mean? In the tank it's very dark, it's very quiet, there's very little sense of pressure acting on your body because you're kind of cradled by that bed of water, and there's very little sense of temperature at the skin because the water is very similar to the temperature of the skin. In fact, what happens after a short period of time is the water that's in direct contact with you will sort of match up with your skin temperature, and that kind of creates that effect of not really being in water when you combine that with the weightlessness as well.
Right.
So once you're reducing all this stimulation coming into your senses and your nervous system, that elicits the relaxation response. You've got no choice but to relax. How are you feeling about it?
Excited, but not like hyped up.
Yeah.
Like
it's natural to have a little bit of anxiety because it's a brand new experience. But what I'd say to you is, you're going to come out feeling really relaxed, fresh, sort of ready to take on the world again, and just give you a little bit of more sort of resilience to handle that day-to-day stress, you know. So take you around the windy corridors. This is all artwork that's been done by people who've been in the tank, so sort of interpretations of their experience. I can't sort of guarantee you're going to get any sort of smoke or anything coming out of your head, but you know, not ruling it out. Okay, so the float room's just pretty golden. Lights on. Well, I'm in.
Oh, it's a nice smell.
Yeah.
Is that just the natural smell of the salt water, is it?
Probably cleaning product, to be
honest.
Right. The Epsom salt does have a nice aroma to it, I admit. It's very nice sticking your head in there first thing in the morning, quite humid, and sort of clears out the airways and stuff like that. So I've got a lovely job, you know, I'm just helping people to relax, and I'm a little bit sort of borderline obsessed with floating myself, so I'm in the right place.
So how often do you usually float?
I try to get in at least once a week.
Right.
I kind of try to schedule myself in. Sometimes my calendar fills up without us kind of realising, I have to like just sort of squeeze myself in at some point. But I think once a week's a good amount for me, but if I could do more, I would. You know.
Right.
There's diminishing returns, but you know, once a week's good for me.
So in terms of the people who come into the business, is it mostly people who arrive once and then get like a membership, or is it just new people constantly?
It's hard to put. I haven't done the figures, but I'd say about 25% of our clients are regular clients who have memberships or like regularly renew packages.
Yeah.
And the rest is just sort of people coming in for that new experience to see what it's like. You know? Yeah. Okay, so let's open it up. The door opens from here. Oh, sorry, mate.
It's alright.
There we go. And then the top just slides back. So there's a little catch here, Kogan, and that's what you can use to open and close the lid once you're inside. Alright, this is the light switch, just here. So you'll be switching the light off. Once you're in there and you're about to lie back, it's easy to just pop that light off first, okay? So, get into the tank. I do recommend taking your time. You hold up the sides, step yourself in nice and slowly, and it is easier if you close this door first before you sit down, okay? And then what you're going to do is sit yourself roughly in the middle of the tank there with your feet pointing towards that end. Alright, and then when you're ready, you grab this catch, close the lid, and then lie back. There's over half a ton of depth and salt in the tank, so that creates a hyperbuoyant solution. So that means you don't have to do anything. The water will support you absolutely perfectly. Yeah. Okay. The only thing you really need to think about is where to position your arms. Now, I don't want to tell you a certain position to put your arms because everybody is different and they find comfort in different ways. But it's very common for people to float their arms up. There's basically variations of arms up and arms down. Yeah. Okay, so I like to float my arms up. This is the sort of pose that I take. When you think about it, your arms have weight. So depending if they're up or down, it's going to push either your hips into the water or your upper torso into the water. Yeah. And I prefer to have the upper torso pushed down because I don't like the sensation of the water pushing up against my back and my neck. It's just a little bit uncomfortable for me. But again, play with variations of, you'll find what's comfortable for you. When you're in the tank, muscles are going to start to relax and they'll be relaxing at different rates. And generally what happens is, your neck in particular is the last region to let go. So you might feel a little bit of pull or a little bit of tension. It's quite common, but not every time, you know. Okay. Generally what happens is that does sort of melt away, you know. Just like that. It's kind of like a halo or a crown, you know what I mean? So, you can use this from the start if you like, or if you just feel that you want a little bit of support for your head, that's what that's there for. Okay, mate. And just next to that, there is a face towel. So if you do need to wipe your face, I would recommend using the face towel rather than using your wet hands, because that's not going to work. Right. Okay. Right then, so...
How deep is the water in there?
The water at the moment is it's close to 25 centimetres, so it's not deep at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll support you perfectly, I can absolutely guarantee yeah. So the way this works, Kogan, normally for the first float, we do recommend to have a little bit of music at the start. I'll be putting some quite ambient music on, just to sort of ease you into the float and have something to sort of latch your attention on for the first few minutes. Yeah. So we'll leave that on for about 10 to 15 minutes, is that okay for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Then we'll start to fade that out quite slowly, and then you'll get 45 minutes of silence, alright? Okay. Then, to let you know that the session's over, we'll bring music back on at the end of the session. That does signify that the session has ended. But once you hear that music, I don't want you to dive straight out of the tank. I want to give yourself a few minutes, just to sort of get yourself ready to leave the tank, okay? There's no need to rush out. Okay, so when you do hear that music at the end, the process to get out is quite simple. All you do is just sit up. You look to the right and you'll see a very, very faint sliver of light here and here, and that's sort of signposting the exit to the tank, and you know that the light switch is in the right hand side. Okay. Once you're in there and floating, there will be no difference between eyes closed and eyes open, but once you sit up and look towards the door, that tiny little green LED does sort of illuminate the exit. Right. Okay. And even it's all very obvious, you sort of open the door, you slide the top back, and then carefully exit the tank, okay, and then press the button before you go into the shower. I've got a little tip for you. When you're lying back, when you first lie back, the very act of you getting into the water is going to have the water moving around a little bit, and so you will find yourself drifting ever so slightly. You do become still after a short period of time, but a way to sort of minimise that drift is to sort of put your two hands out so they touch each wall, and you'll feel the water sort of pushing you around, and after about 30-40 seconds that you will become still, you know what I mean? Once you've left the tank open, if you could close this door for me, that would be wonderful, and if you could leave the top just crack it open just a couple of inches, that'd be great. And finally, I just want to say, I wouldn't try to sort of empty your mind of thoughts, okay, because I don't know if you've doing meditation or breathing techniques, it's a wonderful place to do that. But the more you try to empty your mind of thoughts, the more that you can't do it, alright? So I would just try to put it to bed. One thing that I like to do is just very simple, it's just to count up to 100 and then count back down. And generally when I'm on my way back down, I've felt that first shift in relaxation, okay? And then, there's levels to this, and hopefully you'll go for a few today. I really hope you enjoy your float. If you need me for anything at all, just come to the door and shout, I'll be straight across. Nobody ever does, but I'm there if you need me, okay? Do you have any questions at all?
None, no.
Okay.
I think you've covered pretty much everything that I would have asked. So
excellent, okay, good to hear. I'll leave you to it then, and I shall see you in just over an hour.
Alright, thanks very much, Lee.
Yes, go ahead.
So there you go, I don't know how much you can see or hear, but that was Lee, the owner of the company. So he floats once a week himself. Just going to get undressed, get ready for the shower here. Make sure there's no oils or anything on my body. I think every float place has this because obviously the tank is shared. They do have filters and stuff, but it should be as clean as possible. So we'll have a quick shower, and then once we're done, I'll ring that doorbell on the wall, and then that'll signify to Lee that I'm kind of ready to go. So that's me out of the shower. I'm going to get these earplugs in, and then we're almost ready to get into the bath. I'm going to have to give me face. That's it, got to give me face a dry. 2 seconds. Let's get these earplugs in. Just got one, got two. So he said squeeze them up a little bit, get it right in your ear. Squeeze them up, get it in your ear. Alright, well I pretty much can't hear anything now. So, I think in a couple of minutes I'm going to ring the bell. And away we go. So here we are in the tank. It says open that a little bit when you get in. And then put your feet in. Let that door close. I'm gonna, 2 seconds, I'm gonna bring it in here first actually, just so you can have a look what it's like. So there we go. That would be it with the door closed. If we go to the back, you see it's quite a roomy thing. I don't know if you can see me either. Some very dim blue lights there. A little bit of music when you're done. Pull that over, turn the light off. So, I guess I'll see you in an hour.
The sensory deprivation chamber has been the most important tool that I've ever used for developing my mind, for thinking, for evolving.
I don't know if I'm finished or not, but that was pretty mad. I'll tell you about it once we're out here. I'm going to get copyrighted for this music. See you later.
For all mammal babies, the shock of leaving the warm, totally protected haven of a mother's body and entering the harsh, relatively cold, danger-filled world outside is inevitably traumatic.
So we're done. We're going to go out. I didn't realise there was a lock on the door. I never locked it, so... Hiya.
How'd you find it then? Got a big smile.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
It really is. Yeah,
Like,
especially when you've just come out.
Yeah.
Try and put that into words.
There was a few different things that happened. Like, the first thing was the music. I was like, this seems like it's going on forever. It's like, it's got to be more than 15 minutes. And then, for whatever reason, I just had a giggle to myself. I just started laughing for no reason. Well, you know how dark it is in there.
Yeah.
There was like something that was even darker, but it was like the Northern Lights.
Right, yeah, that's
It was like really dark Northern Lights. And then the odd time when I must have moved, but I felt like I just was spinning for ages.
Yeah, you do get a sense of routine.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly say why that is.
Uh-huh.
I've got no explanation for it, but it's very, very common. I get it quite a lot as well.
Yeah. And then the last thing, like these could all have been happening just for a few seconds, but it felt like a while.
You've got no sort of sense.
Yeah.
Of time, really.
And then there was the one where it felt like I was going down a water slide, like at Wet n Wild. Because your face is obviously dry.
Yeah.
But it felt like my feet were just going it's hard to explain, but further and further down and just dropping. There's just so many different things, but...
You feel good?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good. It's kind of like you've had a good rest in there, but you don't feel groggy.
Yeah.
You come round, you kind of feel like ready to go. So
Yeah.
Feel like just good with the endorphins that have been released because you've done something that your brain's rewarding you.
Uh-huh.
You've done something good, so do that again. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? How these things work.
Oh yeah, I think I'll be booking in again, definitely.
Right here. And you know, like, it does get better.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. Your first float, like I said, when you came in, it's kind of more exploratory, just kind of getting used to the space, you know.
That's it, with it being a new building, a new tub, all that kind of stuff.
And
It's
the
like,
anxiety that you might have had, like,
Yeah.
in the back of your mind, oh, I'm not going to like it, it's going to be uncomfortable, I'm
Mhm.
going to freak out, you know. All these things go through your mind when you're doing something for the first time. Now you know it's a safe space, it's where you're going to automatically relax, so you go into it feeling good already.
yeah,
So you kind of got less work to do when you get in the time, you know, you'll go deeper for longer next time, you know.
yeah.
It just builds, you know, the more you do it, the better it does get, honestly.
Yeah, but it was nice, just like,
Floating
to be
around.
chilled out for an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just checking with yourself, you know, because you don't rarely get the time to do that, do we? We're always, you know, running around the day to
Yeah.
day. And just unplugging from that for an hour is really beneficial.
But yeah, I'll definitely be back.
Good stuff, I'm glad to hear it. So next time you come, I should have my light machine back up and I think you might like that as well.
Sounds good.
Good stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed the floating.
But yeah, it was really good.
Okay, so this is £20 left to pay after your deposit. So something to bear in mind for the future, we do a package of we do for beginners. It's free, 60-minute floats for £90, so it saves you 30 quid over the free. So it's well worth doing. By the end of that third float, you're like, oh, I can't do without this now. Or this was a bit of a novelty, it was nice, but it's not something I want to do moving forward. You know what I mean?
So can I do that from today's or not?
Yeah, that would all add into that. So you pay 40 today, and then come the next time pay 50, and then you've got another 2 floats.
Yeah, do that.
So do you want to just pay for the whole whack now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 90 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, just get that set up for you. And then you're accountable now because you pay the money, so you have to come in and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good to do that up front. Okay, so that's the beginner's float package. Good stuff.
Thanks very much.
Very welcome, Cogan.
I don't know if you shake hands or
I'll shake
elbow
your
bump or whatever.
Take
Right,
care, mate.
thanks.
Safe journey.
Bye.
See you in a minute.
So there we go, we're out. I'll tell you a bit about the experience. Maybe it's when it's not raining, I don't know. Can you hear? Maybe you can hear, maybe you can't hear. But it was pretty mad. I might talk about it at home once I've kind of processed what happened in there. There was some weird stuff happened, not so weird stuff, but yeah, it was pretty good. And I'll be going back. I've booked in some more sessions. I've booked in another 2.